everyone, I'm Cass, and welcome back to Cass Attempts. Today is day 27 of World Domination, and Pinky, can you fucking stop that? Bad kitty! You know you're not allowed to do that. Now you're gonna come cuddle. What a little shit. Today, we are going to talk about something that I am very interested in, and basically I am just going to list off my 2021 travel aspirations. And this is kind of inspired by, I follow a lot of travel bloggers in case that wasn't obvious, and I follow a lot of travel podcasts and a lot of travel videographers, and I follow a lot of travel people. So this is inspired by that. In particular, the Extra Pack of Peanuts travel podcast, Trav and Heather, his wife, they always do a wish list for the year ahead, and it's like they're no holds barred, like it doesn't matter how realistic it is, they can pick whatever they want to go on that list, and that's kind of their wish list for the year. And I just listened to their 2020 travel wish list, and I listened to their 2019 travel wish list last year, and I kind of just wanted to make one for myself because it seems like such a fun thing to do, and you can learn more about me and where I want to go. But for me, making a 2020 travel wish list was not very realistic, because even though theirs is not meant to be realistic, I know that I can't go anywhere in 2020. I'm going to New Orleans in June. That's pretty much the only place I'm going to be able to get to, because I don't have enough money to travel anywhere else and also do all the other things that I want to do. So travel kind of is falling onto the back burner while I get my other shit in order. So I know I only have that one trip, so I felt like I couldn't really do a travel wish list for 2020 because it just seems so unfair to dream about it at such a soon interval. So instead, I'm doing my 2021 travel aspirations. Of course, I have no idea where I'll be in 11 months at the end of 2020, but I'm hoping that I'll be in a place where I might actually be able to make some of these come true. As Trav and Heather do in their podcast episode, I am going to start off with some honorable mentions, which did not quite make the list. I made my list 5 places. I believe there's a 7 plus 2 honorable mentions each, but I felt like 5 was, because they're like hardcore travelers, and I do not make a living off of my travel endeavors, and I don't really make a living off of anything at this point, so I felt like I should not go too big. I'm still shooting for the stars for 2021, but I am not shooting for the next galaxy, essentially. So my honorable mentions are New Zealand, because I really have always wanted to go to Australia or New Zealand, and the reason it's New Zealand for me and not Australia is because my boyfriend really wants to go to New Zealand because he mountain bikes, and I've mentioned this in a bunch of fucking videos before, but he mountain bikes, he really wants to go to New Zealand, and I feel like if we can go to New Zealand together in 2021, he might actually be more interested in traveling. I'm optimistic for that, so that's why New Zealand is on there for my boyfriend, and also because I want to go. The second honorable mention that I have is sailing in Croatia. And this is something I've wanted to do for a while, but it doesn't make the actual list because it's not super fresh and exciting for me right now. I guess that's probably what it is that like I've seen all this sailing in Croatia stuff, and I just kind of wanted to limit this list to really exciting things. And some of them are not going to sound exciting once you get to them, but I am super excited about them because I'm a fucking weirdo. So sailing in Croatia on a yacht. I fucking love boats. I really want to learn how to drive a boat and be a boat person because I never grew up around water. I did kind of grow up around water because we're not that far from the ocean here, and we also have a bunch of lakes, but my mom hates the water. Thanks, Mom. She's not a beach person, and she definitely was never a boating lady, so I never had boat experience. Now we are on to the main list. I'm going to start with number 5 and work my way up to number 1. And basically these are numbered in the order that I thought of them, essentially. Number 1 is the first thing that I thought of when I started to make this list. That's the only way that I ordered them, but I figured that the first one that I thought of would probably be like my number 1 top pick anyways. Do you see the logic here? I see the logic here, and I think that's what matters because I run this fucking channel. So number 5 is I would love to, in 2021, go to a conference in a different city. Obviously, I live near Vancouver in BC, and I obviously want to go somewhere else for a conference. Preferably, like, if I'm gonna go to a conference, I would love to go to at least like Oregon or lower, or like Saskatchewan or farther east. Like, I don't want to stay within Washington, BC, and Alberta, but also, like, who gives a shit, really? And if one of my favorite conferences ends up going to, like, Seattle, I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna do it. By favorite conferences, I have a few that I have been wanting to go to for a very long time and just haven't yet. Honestly, kind of wanted to go to World Domination Summit, but I believe the 2021 is the last one, which is sad. But oh well. I also kind of want to go to the London Book Fair, which seems very exciting and booky and exactly my scene, and a bunch of people with fancy accents, because the Brits sound fancy AF. And I'm going to PolCon this year, but I would maybe love to go next year too, depending on how good of a time I have. And it'll be in a different city next year, so I can explore a whole new city for PolCon. And then, the one that I have been thinking of for a long time, the first year that it was put on, I actually bought a ticket. It was held in Austin, Texas the first year. I bought a ticket and then backed out and asked for a refund because I just was not in a good place financially to actually go, and I didn't really know where my life was going. Still don't, but I don't care as much now as I did back then. That conference is TravelCon, put on by Nomadic Matt of the website Nomadic Matt. I'll link that in the description box below in case you're not familiar with him, but he is the biggest name in travel blogging ever. And I've followed him since I started wanting to travel, and honestly, I would so fucking love to go to a conference of his. Also, I do want to get into travel media and travel writing, and I've been putting it off for a while because I feel like I don't have enough experience in traveling to get into travel writing, but you kind of have to do things to get the experience to do things. So we're gonna stop using that BS as an excuse. The bonus with this is that conferences are usually held in really interesting big cities, and I love big cities. I love them so much. Anyways, number 4 is Russia. Why Russia, you might ask? Russia is one on my bucket list. If you haven't seen my bucket list video, it'll be up there. Russia has been on my bucket list for a while. I'm just kind of really interested in Russian traditions and all that stuff. And I am also learning Russian, the language. I take classes approximately once a week. I missed all of January. And I had my first one again this morning, and I fucking sucked. But we'll get back on that. So I'm learning Russian, and I need to go to Russia at some point to make learning Russian worth it. Because everyone asks me, I'm like, yeah, I'm learning Russian. They're like, why? That's not the most useful of languages. And they're right, but it's a personal interest project, and once I'm good at Russian, I will probably go back and do Spanish or French again and see where that takes me. But for now, I want to put my Russian to use. I want to go to Russia, and I want to see all the fancy architecture and fall in love with a place where my boyfriend will probably never go with me. Number 3 on my list of my top travel aspirations for 2021 is a road trip, specifically down to California. I have on my bucket list, once again, referencing the bucket list a lot, but I obviously have a lot of overlap, that I want to go on at least a month-long road trip in the US, Canada, or both is what's on my bucket list. But for this one, I felt like California was a good place to go, where it wouldn't really have to be a month. I could have a ton of fun for 2 weeks, drive down there, camp a bunch, do some stuff, hang out at beaches, drive back up during the summer, and it wouldn't be a huge thing. I could just go in my car. My car has really good gas mileage, bring a tent. I have a bed platform for the back of my car, so I can always sleep in my car. It just seems like probably the simplest way to do a road trip of a bit more extended length to see if I actually will enjoy it, but historically I have enjoyed it. I went on a mini road trip last summer, and I did love it. Number 2, this is the one that is going to sound super weird if you don't know me personally. Maybe even if you do know me personally. But number 2 is I want to go to Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And I want to go specifically in the winter. Does that sound stupid to you? It sounds kind of stupid to me. But basically, I have been looking at Montreal as a place to move to for so long. I love the idea of being in Canada still and like not having to worry about working because it's the same country and all that stuff, but being somewhere where they speak a different language. And Montreal is the only place you can do that in Canada because, well, not Montreal specifically, Quebec the province. Quebec the province. I think there are a few smaller cities in Ontario as well that are French-speaking predominantly, but Quebec is the only French-speaking entire province. Pinky, say hello, by the way. Anyways, the only French-speaking province, so Quebec is somewhere that I really want to go, and Montreal as a city really intrigues me because it's very inexpensive compared to Vancouver. It's a large city, but still very, very inexpensive compared to the other large cities in Canada. Pinky, if you walk in front of my camera, I did. Okay, I'm back in different clothes because it's the next day. Basically, Pinky walked in front of my camera. My phone died shortly after, and then it was way too dark to film anything. So I'm here the next day to finish off the list with my number 1 pick. So my number 1 travel aspiration for 2021 is to do a yoga teacher training in Bali or India. I'm kind of up in the air. There's a lot of them in Bali that seem pretty neat. I've wanted to go to like Southeast Asia for so long, so of course like Bali would have been on my list anyways, but it kind of got bumped onto this list, the top of this list specifically, because I've been thinking a lot recently about doing some sort of athletic trainer certification. I kind of definitely have an urge to get like Pop Pilates certified, and a yoga teacher certification seemed like it would be kind of fun to have and would be able to like let me be in touch with myself spiritually, especially if I go to a place like Bali where they're going to teach me more about like the origins of yoga, whereas if I did a yoga teacher training in Canada, they might not focus on that as much. And also, like, who doesn't want to do yoga on a beach? There are no downsides. Open air yoga, right by the beach, the sea, you can hear it. It just sounds like such a good time. I also kind of want to get like pole teacher certified, but I think I need a bit more time to get to that point. And of course, like I obviously need some time to get to the point where I can be a yoga instructor, because I am not very flexible or very good at yoga right now. But they do only recommend that you have 6 months to a year, depending on like which program you're looking at, of previous yoga experience, and that's probably like doing it multiple times a week kind of thing. So I'll just have to like hardcore commit to it at some time in 2020, and then I can probably make it happen in 2021. And for the record, if anyone's wondering, the courses that I'm looking at are Yoga Alliance certified 200-hour courses. So those are kind of like the basic level to become a yoga teacher, and then they have like more hardcore levels like 300-hour and 500-hour yoga teacher trainings as well. But I would just want the basic 200-hour one, and it would be at one of their like yoga retreats where you live there essentially. You live there, or they give you options for accommodation, but ideally I would want one that accommodation is included in the price that I pay them for my certification, which is not that expensive actually. Like if you don't have a mortgage on a house or like rent to pay when you leave behind, you can probably spend less while going to school in Bali than you would while just living in Canada. And that's like, it blows my mind Those are my 2021 travel aspirations, inspired by Extra Pack of Peanuts, linked in the description box below, as I said before. Do you have any of the same travel aspirations? What are your top 5? List them in the comments below. I would love to hear about it because everyone's really different about the kind of style or the kind of travel that they like to do. If you liked this video, hit like. If you like me, subscribe. And as usual, this has been me, and you'll see me tomorrow. Also, California? Isn't he cute? What the fuck is this? He's so cute. That's not even fair. You were so cute.